Conspiracy theories are a good way to stimulate the brain and also to stay one step ahead of the rest of the world while it's busy consuming, fornicating, and struggling through a low fiber diet. The coronavirus pandemic is no more a coincidence than finding your keys exactly where you left them the last time. Conspiracy theory number one: the virus was deployed by China to terminate the US president. Think about it. If you were to assassinate the president of the United States, what are your options other than tricking him into believing that the tapeworm diet is the most healthy way to lose weight? You cannot go to war with them unless you're protected by some notion of religious superiority, which in scientific parlance is also called dim-wittedness. And if you have done your research, as I have, you've already watched and studied White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen, and know that sending a militia of brainwashed yet somehow highly trained terrorists to infiltrate the White House will never succeed beyond getting a selfie with Channing Tatum. Deploying a virus that targets only a specific target group of people with weakened immunities then is the most brilliant alternative. The cost is nearly zero. The virus takes care of its own conveyance, doesn't demand artillery or food supply. Death toll is far, far less than war, and nobody can be held accountable except the annoying acquaintance who calls me Onion Bro because in Malayalam, younger brother is called Onion. The only hiccup in this master plan is that the US president has been tested negative for the virus, even though he distinctly remembers touching his face in three places just after he had tried and failed at meditation fourth time in a row. And it's far too late now because he has meticulously started washing behind his ears and switched to the healthier, albeit less tasty Patanjali atta noodles, thus rendering the virus completely defenseless against him. This theory on close scrutiny fails to hold water because the probability of the president catching the virus, though far higher than the probability of him catching a bullet, is still lower than the probability that some charming men might catch it instead. Men that make you want to chop your palm off and courier to them just so you have the good fortune of shaking hands with them. These men are usually named Tom Hanks or Idris Elba, and no one in their right mind, not even the Chinese, will wish them to pronounce the word Swami Vivekananda. I have a separate plan altogether to effect the end of the world just for the possibility of Adam Driver catching it. Certainly, there's little point in living anymore after that. Conspiracy theory number two: the Indian government did it. What is the best way to stop mass gatherings and protests? Asked a high ranking official as they all gathered in a huge mass to protest against the protesters. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but a viral always kills me, whispered a protester who did not wish to be named because he didn't have the documents to prove it. Sticks and stones first, and then the viral, followed by an enema, ordered the high ranking government official and left abruptly to take care of official oversightedness. And if the chronology that has been followed is any indication, we can expect an outbreak of the runs very soon, possibly from an overconsumption of cow urine and dung, which is ironic because once the global gober supply falls short of the demand, cows will be given enema to restore balance. This theory too fails under scrutiny because the most susceptible people to the virus, older people with weak immunities, or people with complete lack of judgment and integrity, or any understanding of economics or well-being of the people, are to be found in the government itself. It would be akin to developing a nuclear bomb and nuking yourself, even though you have monopoly over the only known antidote to the virus in the form of bovine discharge. Even our neighboring country, that is the single source of all the problems plaguing us, is not stupid enough to do that. Conspiracy theory number three. The last and only plausible conspiracy theory that remains then is that I did it. I was suffering from a huge backlog of topics to mull over, and while I love mulling and converting the mulls into written word, I noticed the world was getting ahead. People were doing productive work, making money, taking the human race forward, while I was making notes on the meaning of the term Montezuma's revenge. The only way for me to profitably clear my backlog was to force the world to take a break while I caught up. And going by the list of pending mulls I have stored on my list making app, that also functions as a scheduler, reminder, and a coitus predictor, this could last more than a few months. I would strongly suggest stocking up on paper cuts and warm ketchup sachets. In the next lesson, we shall understand the concept of hoarding and how it is an essential skill in the arsenal of any social distancer worth his salt.